Hey friends, welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Oleg. This here is one and only Mr. Bond. We do indeed like watches. In today's video, I'm going to talk about my personal experience of buying a Rolex from Chrono24, as well as the process of buying this watch. This is not a sponsored video by any means. I'm not getting paid by Chrono24 to do this video. I didn't get any discounts on my watch for doing this video. I paid full price, so this is just going to be my experience of buying this watch. I knew the model that I wanted to buy, Rolex GMT Master 2. I also knew that I wanted to buy the 5-digit reference, so there are a couple of versions of this reference. And then I went in, I searched for the watch. In my specific case, so many different things were affecting the price. The age of the watch, which exact reference it was, what condition it was it unpolished, was it polished, did it come with box and papers, and so on and so on. So there's so many different factors that will affect the price of the watch. I chose some of the things that were more important to me than others, and I was looking for watches that had these things, while of course keeping the budget in mind. Chrono24 has this really cool price feature, so you kind of know how much the watch is worth. It doesn't work for all the watches, likely it worked for this watch, so I could see how much roughly these watches are going for, and kind of make an assessment what is a fair price for it. And of course I would research on other websites, not just Chrono24, to know the value of the watch. Now, once I selected a few watches that were in my price range that also fit the criteria that I was looking for, I started looking at the sellers, because one part of the transaction is selecting the watch, the other part of the transaction is selecting the dealer. So when you select the dealer, a few things you want to watch out for. Number one, whether the dealer is verified or not. The other things you want to watch out for, how long the dealer has been active, whether they have a physical address on the website, how many transactions have they done, and what are their reviews. I would encourage you to read the reviews. That's what I did, especially the negative reviews. See what people are saying and what bad experiences did the seller have. All of that was super helpful. Now, side note, I would recommend choosing a dealer from your own country. I'm in Canada, and unfortunately there weren't any Canadian dealers that had this watch. Those would be at the top of the list automatically, because returns and import taxes are both hassle and expenses. If you have to return the watch to a different country, good luck trying to get your import charges back, as well as the return process is more complicated because you have to ship international. So choosing a dealer from your own country would be preferred. If you live in the United States, you have a lot more options. But if you're outside of the United States like myself, and you choose a seller in US, like I did, I chose a seller from New York, you do have to worry about import taxes as well as having the hassle of the return. So once you selected the sellers and the watches that you like, maybe you have 3 or 4 selected, I would message each one of the sellers, ask them a few questions about the watch, whether the watch was serviced or not, what is the condition like of the watch, maybe send you a picture of the movement, maybe send you additional pictures if you need them. If, for example, the watch comes with papers, clarify what kind of papers the watch has. Does it have the original purchase receipt? Does it just have the warranty card? Verify all these different things, and again, it will depend on what kind of watch you're buying. Are you buying a modern watch? Are you buying a vintage watch? Are you buying a used watch? Are you buying a brand new watch? All these things will affect the type of questions you will ask. Just use your common sense and try to ask as many questions as possible from the seller. Now, during this period, you want to see what is the communication with the seller like. Are they willing to respond to you? How long it takes them to respond? And so on and so on. You can make an offer on Chrono24. I think it's called suggest a price or something like that. So that's what I did. Don't lowball, be reasonable. I went a few $100s below the asking price. We negotiated and I got a few $100s off. It wasn't a huge discount, but it was something that at least covered the shipping charges. So how did I pay? Chrono24 has a few different options for payment. You could pay with a bank draft. I chose to pay with a credit card. I used my MasterCard for additional level of protection. The bank did call me. They wanted to verify that I did in fact make this purchase, which I verified. And on a side note, actually in their system, Chrono24 popped up as a gambling website. So I don't know why, for some reason, it did show up as a gambling website in their system. They did ask me what I'm doing. I said that I'm buying a watch. And that was it. Maybe if you did buy a watch from Chrono24, let me know in the comment section below if you had a similar experience of bank calling you and telling you, are you gambling? Are you on a gambling website? Did your credit card get stolen? Leave your thoughts below. I just want to see other people's experience. So after that, the payment goes through and the watch is shipped, and the shipment is secured and insured by the seller. From my understanding, before you receive the watch, the seller doesn't get the money. The money is actually deposited into the escrow account, and it's held there for another 3 days after you receive the watch, because tracking does go through Chrono24 website, so they know exactly when you receive the watch. It gives you some time to make any complaints if something goes wrong, and then you have another 14 days after you receive the watch to make any claims if the watch is not authentic or something like that. So you do have some protection. Now, I would double check the Chrono24 guidelines and just, read up on it, read other people's experiences. This is by no means like a guide on how to buy watches. It's just my personal experience, but that's at least what I remember it's being like. So then when you receive the package, number one, you will have to pay import charges if you're in a country that is requiring you to pay import charges. It's not like you're buying from Amazon or something like that where the import charges are already included. And secondly, you have to sign for the package. So what I would recommend, before you sign for the package, just take a look at the package, make sure there are no signs of tampering, make sure that there are no signs that the package was open before you actually sign for it. If there are any signs of the package being open, if it's really badly damaged, use your common sense and probably don't sign for that package. I would also recommend that you film your unboxing experience. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just set up your smartphone and film the unboxing experience itself. Again, just gives you some extra proof in case something goes wrong. Here you have actual video evidence of the watch being in a certain condition when you took it out of the package. I filmed my unboxing experience of the watch. I was gonna do it anyways because I make videos for YouTube. But if you're not making videos for YouTube, I still recommend you do that unboxing experience for your own record. By the way, the unboxing video that I did can be found on the YouTube channel if you're curious. Right after you unbox the watch, or as soon as possible, I would also take the watch to the watchmaker. That's exactly what I did. Right after the unboxing was done, I took the watch to my watchmaker right away. I took it within the 3-4 hours after I received the watch. I wanted to authenticate it. I wanted to make sure that everything in the watch is correct, that it's not a Franken watch, and that's exactly what I recommend for you guys. Even if you don't film the unboxing experience, at least take the watch to your watchmaker as soon as possible. Even if Chrono24 or the dealer that you bought from offers a certificate of authenticity. A lot of them do that, including the watch dealer that I bought from. They offer that certificate of authenticity upon request. I still chose to get my own verification, to talk to my own watchmaker about the watch, just to see if it needs service and make sure that it's not a Franken watch. With Rolex watches, especially vintage Rolex watches, you're not worried as much about it being fake. Of course you are, but it's more so the Franken watch part of it. If you buy one of the modern Rolex watches, let's say if I bought the new GMT Master 2 with the ceramic bezel, then it's more likely to be fake than to be a Franken watch. So now you have a whole different thing to look out for. So again, depends on what watch you bought. Just use your common sense and take it to a watchmaker. My experience overall was fairly positive. I felt fairly safe each step of the way. I never felt like, oh my God, I might lose my money. The worst that I thought would happen is that I would get either a Franken watch or a watch that wasn't exactly as described, and then I would have to go through the hassle of returning the watch, and that would be kind of the biggest negative. I never thought that I would never see my money back, or I would not be able to get my money back. And even though I had a pretty good overall experience, there are still a few things that I didn't exactly like. The first thing, kind of a small thing, the communication with the seller, it wasn't the best. The seller did take quite some time to respond to my inquiries, and they weren't really as enthusiastic about responding to me. So the long response time and their overall attitude wasn't my favorite part. The second thing, kind of bigger thing, the watch was supposed to be in an unpolished condition. And even though the condition is almost unpolished, you can still tell that the watch was somewhat touched and lightly polished in the past. It's not too bad, so that's why I chose not to return the watch. If it were a little bit more of a polish, I would for sure return it because I wanted the original condition, or as close to the original condition as possible. The other thing is that the bezel doesn't perfectly align. Now that could be for a couple of reasons. Number one, maybe the bezel insert was replaced at some point. So maybe what happened, they replaced it at some point and it was slightly misaligned, or maybe it was slightly misaligned right from the factory. My watchmaker couldn't tell either way because the bezel does look like it's aged accordingly to the age of the watch. I went through some forum posts and I see that some people experience similar issue with their Rolex Submariners and GMT Masters from late 90s to early 2000s. So it could be one of those things, either it came like that from the factory or the bezel insert was replaced at some point. Again, I wish that the seller did mention that in one of their posts or in one of the messages that I communicated them about. And the last thing, the box for the watch. So the watch didn't come with papers, but it did come with the Rolex box. The box is not original to this watch. It is a genuine Rolex box, but it's not original to this watch because the box is too new for the age of the watch. So those were the few things that were kind of negatives for my overall experience. But other than that, I'm happy, and ultimately I chose not to return this watch because I liked it and it was pretty much 90% as described. The 10% were important, but they weren't deal breakers, so to speak. So that's my experience of buying my watch from Chrono24. Share your experiences in a comment section below. Hopefully this video helps some of you. Again, this is not a step-by-step guide of any sort. Do your own research. This is more of sharing my experience with you guys. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We release new videos every week. Today on my wrist, I'm wearing my Rolex GMT Master 2. As I said, there is an unboxing video for this watch. I will leave it linked in the description below. Also in the description below, there are a couple of other links. The first link is a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. The second link is a link to bondnativestraps.com if you're looking for a great quality native strap and want to support this YouTube channel at the same time. Buying one of these native straps is a great way to do so. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.